pretty much the outline how it's gonna go. I brought the wrong book though. Damn. I hate when I do that shit.
NightOutHipHop.com.
Yeah. Holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen. Bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespins. He's a beast when he goes in, ice cold frozen. The first round draft pick, number one chosen. Drop bombs, explosion, self-promotion. And I keep shit moving like a flanker in motion.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of After the Buzzer Sports Podcast with your boy Lee Jones, and I got my guy, the realist, Real Lil, from the Real Lil Show. He's going to join me today. We got a lot of good hot topics that we need to discuss. Lil, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Yeah, man. It's my first time being on the show. It's like, regular. You know how that go. Salute to all my people, man. Salute to the Can You Dig Sports Radio Network. Salute to the Real Lil Show listeners. Salute to After the Buzzer as well, man. I'm looking forward to the show. Lots to get into, and I'm feeling good, man. Other than the headache that I got, I'm doing good.
All right, man. Well, take something for that headache. BC always work, bro. BC always work. Nasty, but always work. We got a lot of.
I took a leave, but to all the people out here that's taking a leave, you can achieve, my people. You could achieve with a leave, all right? That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, man, a leave is cool, but that BC put it on his butt. We got some great topics today, man. Leo, the SEC is discussing nothing's imminent, but they're discussing possibly leaving the NCAA and just playing amongst themselves and developing their own NIL and transfer portal rules. I want to get your thoughts about that, man. That would be weird. That would throw college football, college sports turn it on its head and on its ear. And I want to ask you, what would that mean for college sports going forward? The NBA, who is the real MVP? Look, I got 4 candidates that I want to discuss with you, Lil. I got Luka Doncic, I got Wemby, I got SGA, and I got Nikola Jokic. And I want you to tell me who is the real Lil's MVP. That's what I want to discuss, man. I want you to give me your thoughts on that. I got a scenario with all of these trades going on, and people, now, man, people just throw draft picks away like they throwing away a piece of trash. I was thinking, Dallas has 2 draft picks. Should they throw 2 draft picks at the Cleveland Browns to get Myles Garrett? That'll be an immediate fix for the defense. I want to get your thoughts about that and a possible trade scenario. I want to talk about who's the bigger disappointment, the Houston Rockets or the Cleveland Cavaliers. Both of them are in 4th place, but I think there was more expectation for both teams. And who's the biggest disappointment in the NBA? Jackson Smith and Jigba, richest contract for a wide receiver, Lil. I want to ask you, is he the best receiver in pro football? That's a discussion I think you and I may disagree on. And then finally, I want to talk about the WNBA. They're signing a new collective bargaining agreement. I want to talk about some of the parameters of that collective bargaining agreement. They lost $40 million last year. Over the life of the league, they've lost like $250 million. What does that mean with the new collective bargaining agreement? So we got a lot to jump into. We got an hour to get it done, man. So let's get this thing started. As always, please like and subscribe to the show, guys. Hit us up, subscribe to the show. Leo, the SEC, they're in that back room smoking their cigars and talking about, look, we're tired of all these other teams winning championships and getting all the players we used to get. Mm-hmm. And we need to do something about it. The competitive balance is evening out, and we need to do something about it. And they're proposing in the back rooms, well, maybe we should just leave the NCAA, make our own rules, make our own dates with when people can leave and transfer, and just play our teams. What are your thoughts about that for the SEC, for college sports in general? Talk to me about it, bro.
Yeah, look, the SEC breaking away from the WNCA is emotionally understandable, but bad for college football and logically bad for the SEC. I'll repeat, is emotionally understandable, meaning that I get it from an emotional standpoint, but ultimately not only bad for them, but college football as well when you think logically. Because in anything in life, there's emotion, there's logic, and we either make decisions logically or emotionally. Now, again, the little Shadamas in me that I am with the NIL and the expansion of the conferences or teams leaving conferences for more money and advertisement, the overall fabric of college football has been lost, at least for me. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, a guy that's a traditionalist, a guy that I mean, I could tell you straight up, I don't like the way the country is moving, but I did like the way how the country was before. Some parts of it, some parts got better, some parts got worse. And I can say the same thing for college football. The rivalries that we used to get year to year, for the most part, Bedlam, those were my type of rivalry games right there. People don't understand how marketable and impactful rivalries are in sports. I think the NBA is missing that to a T, which is why people don't value the regular season as much as they used to. But again, when you bring it back to the SEC, it's another example of college sports being ran like a pro league. The students are no longer students; they're athletes who priorities used to be and should be advancing towards a degree and graduating with the hope of making it to the NFL, NBA. Now, I think what the SEC knows is they know they're the best conference in college football. But with that being said, they also know that it was the third straight year that they didn't win the national championship in the conference. Now, with the college football expanding to a 12-team format with more potential expansions looming in the future, it does not really benefit the SEC more so than the other conferences. In fact, you can make the case that it benefits the smaller conferences than the SEC because under the old BCS system, it benefited the SEC more as they won 7 straight consecutive national titles from the SEC from 2006 all the way to 2012. It was complete SEC domination. Now, with the college football playoff coming into the fold now and replacing the old BCS system, it hasn't really been pro SEC when you look at the results. So the commission is like, okay, well, you know what? Since the strength of schedule is not rewarded as it used to be, and the NIL and the transfer portal has made things more even, why don't we branch off and create a super league in which we are generating first of all, we already generating the most revenue out of all the conferences in college football, 1.3 billion to be exact. So emotionally, I understand why they want to do it. Hey, we bring so much to the table, and right now we kind of feel, we have that ego, like, we have won a championship. Now there's more competition. The college football playoff seems to benefit the FCS more than the FBS and more than the SEC. How about we just branch off and do our thing since we are the machine anyway? But logically, to me, it would do more harm for the SEC and for college football for reasons I explain in my second lap.
Yeah. Well, you made some good points. For me, first and foremost, I think it's idiotic. I think it wouldn't work. Them branching off. Yeah, they may. From top to bottom, from a competitive perspective, the SEC is the best conference. I'll give them that. But they don't have the best. They're not playing the best football right now, right? The Big Ten is playing the best football, right? Last 3 champions have come from the Big Ten. So that's the first thing. So how could you theoretically leave the NCAA and what you're going to do, just crown the SEC champion and think that is the best team in college football? No, that won't work. So branching off by yourself, it's ludicrous, really. It's just trying to put pressure on the rest of college football to make some serious decisions and try to come together to branch out and get some NIL rules in place, mainly get rid of the collectives, get some transport portal dates where that it can help the SEC in their recruiting, and I get that. That's smart business. And in business, we bluff all the time. We throw things out there to make people think. But for the SEC member schools to think that they can go it alone, just play themselves, and think that one, television executives are going to go for it. No. Two, the other schools, okay, you play 16 teams. Okay, you can't even get a full 12-week schedule out of that, Lil, unless you're playing teams 2 and 3 times. Come on, man. That's just not going to work. And nobody's going to want to see that when the other teams are playing and we see Ohio State and Indiana and Michigan and Colorado and all these other teams playing. I just think it's them trying to posture to get some of the things that they want to get out of the NCAA as far as NIL and transfer portal. And I don't take it serious at all, but I think it's good talking to get the dialogue started.
Yep.
Excuse me, the dialogue started to sort of set some standards for college football. Now, again, I feel they're never going to get it to where they want it unless they collect a bargain with the players. So it's a moot point, really. I know they're trying to get President Trump in on it and get him to sign some executive orders, Lil, but that's going to go to court too. So it's not going to happen until they collectively bargain with the players. So I think it's much to do about nothing.
I mean, look, it could be leverage here. It could be a leverage play to get what they want. It could be seeing their worth. I've been in jobs before where I look at what the company's making. I've been there. Yeah, shit. I have an ego when it comes to jobs. Nobody working for free, especially when you're bringing in the company money. You're looking at what you're making and what you're bringing to the table, and you're looking at what the job is making. You're like, wait, hold up. Do I need this job? Like, I probably should branch off and do my own thing. So, again, emotionally, I understand what the SEC is trying to say here. First of all, they have a big marketing brand, which is why they're able to reach the national people they're able to reach. They have a $3 billion media rights deal with ABC, ESPN, and all those channels over there. So that creates a bigger pipeline from the NFL, from college football to the NFL. They have the biggest pipeline. You want to go to the NFL? Your best chance lies in the SEC. So that's their, marketing right there. And then look, they don't need to be aligned with other conferences either, because the fact of the matter is the other conferences need them. That's why these FCS schools pay between 500,000, 700,000. They get paid to get 80 dropped on their heads. Basically, just like, let's fill in the schedule. So again, emotionally, I get it. But here's where the logic will crush some of the emotions that the SEC is feeling right now. When you talk about the big platforms, March Madness in college basketball, the college football playoff is growing. It's becoming more popular. Those things I think they should want to participate in, because those are the big platforms right now. Especially when you talk about college basketball, the NBA, again, leave me. I'm not trying to start another debate, but it's not as popular to me as far as the way how people are receiving it. A lot of people think right now, I've had many people, and I believe it because I watch some of this March Madness. I'm like, this is better basketball than the NBA. So again, you would probably want to stay in that conference, and obviously college football, you will want to take advantage of the college football playoffs. So to me, I don't think they should break away from the NCAA machine.
Yeah, I just don't think any television exec, no station, no executive will buy the SEC branching off by themselves. And they're a great conference. There's no doubt about that. But to sustain the season, and really, you can't definitively say that they have the best teams. You can say as a conference they may be the best overall, but you can't say that they have the best teams now, and nobody's going to want to be a part of that, Lil. So to your point, I just think, it's emotional and it's posturing, and I ain't mad at them for saying that or putting that out in the air, but I think that falls on deaf ear, because you have to get some TV execs to dance with you on that. I just don't see that coming. So hey, audience, please chime in. If you got some thoughts about that, let us know. But I just don't see that happening. Leo, we're going to turn to our next topic. Your favorite topic, the NBA. So The NBA winding down their season, 10 to 12 games left in the season. We got to talk about the NBA MVP race. And I have 4 people, and you want to throw someone else in there, Leo, you go right ahead. But these are my 4 as we talk about NBA MVP. SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You know what Shai's doing. He's on the team with the best record. He's doing what he did. 128, 29 games with 20-plus points, breaks Wilt Chamberlain's record. He's won. Nikola Jokic. Joker is a walking triple-double, right? Doing big things. Denver, not as good on the season anymore. They're in the 4th, 5th slot. So it's not turning into wins, Leo. Wemby, the unicorn, the freak. I mean, look, definitely going to be defensive player of the year, leading the Spurs to the 2nd best record, and I think a legitimate title threat. And then Luka Doncic. I mean, Luka's just putting in buckets, man. I mean, let's be honest. Luka just putting in buckets, and it's phenomenal the way, especially over this last week or so, Leo, how Luka has just been, just a man on a mission, right? And so I wanted to put up a graphic. Now, this graphic, unfortunately, is a little skewed, and you can't, but I'm going to be able to, I'll definitely read off this. These are the numbers for those 4 guys on the season, Leo. And I know it's kind of skewed and kind of blurry, but I pulled that up. Who is your 2026 NBA MVP, Leo?
Yeah, well, luckily for me, I got good eyes, so I can see exactly what's being said here. Okay, those of y'all who got glasses, Stevie Wonders of the world, yeah, y'all ain't gonna see this. But look, for me, it got to be the favorite for me is Luka Doncic. Now, the fact that I feel like all 3 of these guys could be intertwined in some way, SGA, Jokic, Doncic, Wemby, is a testament to the skills in today's game. Now, I know I have a lot of criticisms of the game today, but skill is not one of them. Let me be sure and make that clear. Now, you start off with Wemby. We never seen a guy like him before. And anytime I watch him, to me, he's the most entertaining player to watch. Like, to me, he probably leapfrogged Steph Curry as far as entertaining. Like, all right, Wemby's on, I'm going to watch it. He's number 1 for me. He's very dominant, pretty much on both sides of the ball. SGA, very surgical. He's like the surgical master that done this job in the health industry for 30 years. He's like that type of guy. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's a master offensive manipulator who could manipulate the defense. Jokic, to me, best player in the world every year. So automatically, he's always going to be in the discussion, as he should be, to win it every year. Now, for me, what puts Luka in the driver's seat to win, especially the month of March. Right now, he's leading the NBA in 37.2 points per game in that span, adding 8.8 rebounds, 7.5 assists. All around, his game is just elevating the Lakers right now, who have gone 10-1 during that stretch. Now, essentially having his own type of March Madness run in the NBA. He had a 60-point game against the Heat that he could recently add to his candidacy, and he only needed 30 shots to do so. Unlike Bam, who needed to get to the free throw line 43 times to get 83. Now, I'm not obviously criticizing Bam. I gave him credit on the show that I did, but Luka did that with less shots, and he had a 60-point game. Now, what done it for me, and what I'm realizing with Luka that I'm seeing that is making me more, I won't say proud, because he's always been a very good player. We saw the teams that he brought to the finals and Western Conference finals and whatnot. But defensively, he's locked in. And I understand that's like his biggest flaw. But you look at the Lakers defense, and we always talk about the Lakers defense probably going to hold them back, and they're probably going to be a 2nd round exit. That's what most people believe. They're not getting past the 2nd round, which, all right, is fair. But you look at their defense for the last month, they have the 8th ranked defensive rating. Now, I know Luka's not the best defender, but as I said on my show, a lot of being a decent defender is just having the size and having the fast hands. And he has the fast hands to get steals. I believe he's leading the league in steals, or one of those categories. He's up there. He's getting like 2 steals per game. He's taking charges. He's leading that department as well. So for me, it's the effort, and that's all we needed from Luka. Is just don't be a cone, brother. Don't be a cone. Don't be arguing with the ref and not getting back on defense. Just use your size. Try to get some steals, take some charges, help your team out defensively any way you can, just with effort. So for me, with Luka doing that, along with what he's already good at, clearly one of the best IQs in the game. Clearly he's going to fill up the stat sheet every night. Clearly going on a tangent right now in the month of March. To me, he's my favorite to win the MVP right now.
All right. Look, Luka, you never ever get an argument from me about Luka's prowess in scoring the basketball. I mean, he's a savant in that. He can score the basketball with anybody. One of the greatest scorers, in my opinion, to ever play in the NBA. You know, he's a better Dragan Petrovic, if you remember that name, right, from the New Jersey Nets. I mean, he for as a European player, so he's phenomenal scoring the basketball. But Leah, let's be honest. You know, they're 10 games out of first place. 10 games. They're in third place, and look, 10-1 over the last 11. Hey, I love that. But he's still a defensive liability. He's one-dimensional. And, 32 points, eight rebounds, 8.5 assists. Hey, that's a beautiful stat line. But SGA is 31, 4 and 6, and then look at Wemby,
I get that
24,
part.
11 and 3 blocks.
I get that part, and I don't want to interrupt, but again, yeah, sure, he may not be the best defender, but his value, right? Because look at the Mavericks. They traded him. They made the finals immediately that offseason. They traded him, and clearly they're not a playoff team. They're not even in the play-in right now. So we clearly see his value. I mean, every single year it's shown. So again, for me, when you talk about MVP, I'm not just looking at, oh, you're the top in the conference. Sure, that could definitely play a factor in that. But chances are, if you're number one seed, you have a good team. Look at the Celtics right now, who's even though they're not the number one seed in the East, they're very close to being. They got two good players on their team, in Tatum, who's trying to get back to form, and Brown. And they have a good team that won a championship a couple years ago. The Thunder, the number one seed right now, they just won a championship, right? And they had injuries, but they stay able to overcome that because they are a very good team that has chemistry. If you take Luka off the Lakers right now, they would not have the same success they're having right now. To me, that's value.
Yeah, I mean, they may not. I mean, I think with Austin Reeves and LeBron, they'll win games, but still, I mean, you still have to account for what they're not and what he's not, right? And SGA, look, Luka's not a two-way player. SGA is. He's a two-way player. SGA plays defense. He's the catalyst. He's Mr. Clutch. And I just think SGA he's going to win his second MVP. With a close third, in my opinion, is Wemby. What they've done in San Antonio, and I think Wemby's going to be second, and then Luka's going to be third, and then Joker's going to be fourth in my book. For Wemby's done to change the culture of San Antonio is just phenomenal. And from a defensive perspective, how he affects the game and how he's got San Antonio as probably the best defensive team in the league. When you talk about effect on the game, there's nobody that affects the game more on both ends of the court in basketball than Wemby.
It's going to be hard for me to disagree with that and debate that. I think Wemby is definitely one of them impactful players because, I mean, just look at him, right? But at the same time, in the same token, I'm not about to say this to diminish him. He's one of my favorite players to watch right now. But we've seen the Spurs have success. I know it's regular season, playoff time is a different thing. To be clear here, I don't think any of these teams will have success without these players here, right? So let me just make that clear. Right. The Spurs need Wemby, the Lakers need Luka, the Thunder need SGA, and clearly the Nuggets need Jokic. Jokic is that impactful. But when you look at the regular season, the Spurs have been able to win games without Wemby. And in fact, they was able to literally bench him for, during that tournament and have success and throw him in there in the second half and limit his minutes because they have a barrage of guards, right? They don't even have holes. Before their holes was 3-point shooting, but now they're knocking down their shots for the most part. I know De'Aaron Fox is not the best 3-point shooter, but overall, they don't really have that much holes. And clearly, you look at the records, because all these four guys miss games at some point this
Yep,
season.
yep,
The
yep.
Lakers had the worst record without their best player, and Luka Doncic. So to me, it just goes back to the impact. And I understand defensively, we would want him to have a bigger impact, but because he's doing the little things defensively better than in any part of his career, that's also adding value to him, who was already a valuable player with the lack of defense.
That's not saying much. He's doing the little things, Lil. The little things.
The
That
little
guy
things
gets
matter
blown by.
because sometimes it's you getting back, taking charges that energizes your team to get
Luka
LeBron
Doncic is
getting
not.
back in front of his man, to get everybody else,
He's not
playing
playing
hard.
defense. He's not playing defense any better than he's played over the years. He lost weight and he's still the same defensive player in my book. Wemby has San Antonio 3 games outside of the league for the number 1 slot in the West. And so he's approaching the best player in the league status. Probably next year he might assume that mantle. So I go SGA because SGA is out front. He's doing things. He's leading the team. And basically, SGA is the best closer in basketball. He's the best closer in basketball. In the fourth quarter, he gets his shot anytime he wants. He gets to the foul line. He is the best closer in basketball. That's why I give him the nod over anybody. Wemby second. I go Luka third, and I go the Joker fourth, simply because Joker's having another phenomenal year, averaging a triple-double. But the team success is not. His impact on them winning is a little less than the other 3, but I still give it to SGA. I think SGA, like I said, is the best scorer in the fourth quarter at the time the game matters, in winning time in the NBA. And I'll say this: if Wemby can come back and overtake SGA or the Spurs overtake OKC, I would give it to Wemby. I don't think that's going to happen. That's why I stick with the SGA as the league MVP. Last thoughts for you, Lil.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show you again where I started, that the talent pool in the NBA is the scale. It's there. It's probably the best scale of all times, because you have 4 completely different players who in each way, in their own way, impacts their team as equally. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah. No, it's you're good points. Good points. I like to hear what the audience thinks and give us some comments about who you think is the 2026 MVP. Leo, I'm going to quickly turn to the NFL because I got 2 subjects in the NFL I want us to broach. First of all, let's talk about Jackson Smith-Njigba. It broke today that he signed an historic deal with the Seattle Seahawks. $168 million over 4 years, averaging $42 million a year, $120 million guaranteed. I mean, man, that dude is banking. That dude is banking, right? He was the AP Offensive Player of the Year this year. My question to you, Leo, he's paid like the best receiver in football now. Is he the best receiver? And I'm going to give you a couple of names to think about as you ponder this. Okay, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, and Jamar Chase. I think those are the best 4 receivers in football right now. And I'll turn it over to you. He's the highest paid, but is he the best?
Yeah, so before I talk about who's the best and whatnot, I would say that he's worth every penny, and it's a win for the Hawks to get this done. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it from your perspective, the wide receiver market, quarterback market, the positional market does not dictate based off of who's the best and who's not. It's basically it's your time to get paid, you're getting paid. And right now, JSN, it's his time to get paid, and right now he deserves every penny because he contributed to the Super Bowl. He led the league in yards. I mean, this dude was a killer. I mean, he knows how to get open. He's very dangerous in the intermediate, in the deep parts of the field. Him and Sam Darnold has a chemistry that arguably they probably might be the best duo in the NFL. Now, I might go Josh Allen and James Cook, but they're top 5 like as far as the duo Sam Darnold and JSN. Sign me up for that. That's
I think
popcorn
you're giving
every time I
Sam
watch.
Darnold too much credit, but that's okay. I think you're giving
Nah, I
Darnold too much.
should. He won the Super Bowl. I'm cool. He gonna
He
get a
won the
lot of
Super
credit
Bowl,
for me.
I don't know about all that best connection. But
After
go ahead.
all that smack I talk about him, I'm talking about the best duo as far as like. I don't mean Sam Darnold is the best quarterback. Don't get me wrong. When I say best duo,
I know what you're saying. I can name a lot of better duos, though, but I understand what you're saying.
But yes, but look, firstly, to me, it makes sense because now the price on Puka Nacua for the Rams goes up now. So now the Rams got to extend Nacua, and he's probably going to want more than JSN. So you get the job done early. That's what you want to do every single time. You eliminate any offseason headaches, like what happened to Terry McLaurin, which I really felt was the start of the bad juju that the Commanders had going into the season that really went throughout the whole entire season. Brandon Ayuk, same situation the year before. He never came back the same after that holdout. He didn't look good, and then he got hurt with the season-ending ACL injury. So you look at GM Snyder, he could focus on taking care of his cornerback, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and Devin Witherspoon, lock him up as well. And now you have two guys that are not older than 25 years old that you get to lock up. And yeah, even though those are two non-quarterbacks and you're playing a large amount of salary to them in the salary cap, it's still better than gambling for players like Max Crosby, who, I understand you want to increase your Super Bowl odds, but to me, just being able to take care of plays that help contribute to your team's success, to me, is better than making a trade for a superstar in which is not guaranteed that the assets that you gave is going to return on the Super Bowl investment, right? So that's my point. So I think it's good. Now, as far as the
let me ask you something on this. They have $64 million tied up in their two receivers. We talk about this duo and paying receivers and having that much of your cap taken over. Shaheed makes $22 million. He makes 42. So is that a good thing for the Seahawks to have that much of their cap taken up, about $60 million of their cap, which is about a fifth of their cap?
I think that answer would have been altered if they didn't win a Super Bowl. I think because they won the Super Bowl, you're allowed to be flexible. You know what works. Rashid Shaheed, you got that evaluation. You had 3 games of evaluation to see that work. We see Shaheed go off in the playoffs. As soon as he came, he made an impact on that team.
Yeah,
Sam Darnold loved him. He has chemistry with Sam Darnold. JSN, not only did you get to see, okay, was the regular season a fluke? He had an excellent regular season, leading the league in pass yards, but could he do it in the playoffs? Clearly, he could do it in the playoffs. So to me, any other circumstance, I would have an issue with it. With the Seahawks, they won the championship. I don't. Now
that's why they lost. That's why they lost Kenneth Walker, though, because they couldn't afford to pay him. And I get that. They made it.
I think Kenneth Walker is replaceable. As good as Kenneth Walker was and is, as much as he showed us in the Super Bowl, you have Zach Charbonnet, and you could draft another running back, and you could get similar production. It may look different. It may not be as explosive, but as a committee, you could get similar production to replace Kenneth Walker.
Hopefully, before we get into who's the best, Leo, it doesn't cost them. They lost Tariq Woolen. They lost one of their safeties. Hopefully, it doesn't hurt them in their secondary. You have to make these economical decisions when you win the Super Bowl, when you're that good, when you have players like that. I just hope that doesn't strap them. In Seattle, they draft well, and Mike McDonald's a good he's a good evaluator of talent. So I think it would keep that train going. But go ahead. Best receiver in football. Lil, I want to hear this from you.
Look, I think JSN is top 5, no doubt. Now, how many guys I would put ahead of JSN?
Give me those 4 in any particular order. You tell me 1 through 4.
I'm going to go, to me, Jefferson and Chase is interchangeable. So, you could go Chase, you could go Jefferson, you could go Jefferson, you could go Chase. Chase has a quarterback. Jefferson does not. But that's 1, 2.
Good point.
In whatever order you want. Then I will probably go after that. Honestly, I would probably go with JSN. Like, I'm a big JSN fan. I think, look, Nacua, contested catches, athleticism. Nacua is like a different type of beast. we seen Nacua. This guy had 200-something yards against Seattle. Like, this dude, it's crazy. But I would just go Jason a little bit more. I think he's more fluid on his routes, just a little bit. I'll go JSN number 3, and then I go Nakua number 4, and then the cap of my 5, I would probably go with CeeDee Lamb.
Hey, I like that. Yeah. Good. Hey, you're all right. Because CD, before last year when CD got the drops a little bit, he got the dropsies a little bit last year. CD's a dog. And I think this next year he's going to prove it. I really think though, if George Pickens was the featured number 1, we'd be talking about him being the best receiver in football. He's that talented. I don't think there's a receiver with the physical gifts in the NFL better than George Pickens. And when you just look at his physical gifts, ability to track the ball, route running, and all of that stuff, I think Pickens is just other things that may keep him out of the top list. For me, I think Chase is clear number 1. Not clear, but by a little margin over Justin Jefferson. I like Chase's run after the catch. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch. I love his run after the catch. He's a running back in a receiver's body. He's fluid. He breaks tackles. I mean, he's just a dog, man. 2 years ago, the guy won the Triple Crown, receptions, receiving yards, touchdowns. I mean, he's phenomenal player. And every time that Burrow's healthy, this guy shows out. And he has a dog on the other side, so he's still doing it. So I really think Chase is number 1 right now. I would go with Jefferson. I think you're right. Jefferson is fluid. He runs great routes, catches everything, man. You don't see Jefferson dropping balls. You don't see that. You don't see that type of thing happening. So I certainly would go with Jefferson number 2, and then I would go. I don't know why I lost my audio.
Yeah, you lost the camera.
My vision, but we'll be okay. I'll go Jefferson number 2. Then I would go. I probably would go JSN. I think I would go with JSN as well. I think JSN strong as far as his ability to run after the catch, and he catches contested ball. I would go with Puka Nacua last. So those would be my 5. And then you're right, I'll throw CeeDee Lamb in there as well, Leo. So yeah, those would be my 5 in very similar order as you. And
it's like this, man. You literally looked at my test sheet and you just everything. You didn't even try to fake one wrong. Like everything 1 through 5. Hey, I mean, hey, we don't always agree, so we'll take it while we're here.
Yeah. Leo, I wanted to ask you, with all of the NFL, and it seems as though players or teams are willing to trade more draft picks now. For some reason, they're trading draft picks. They're throwing draft picks into the fray more often. 2 draft picks, multiple draft picks in a season, going into the following years. The Cowboys need to fix their defense, and I wanted to ask you: should the Cowboys? They have 2 first-round draft picks this year. They have 2 next year. Should they package 2 draft picks in some order, send it to Cleveland, and get Myles Garrett to fix their struggling defense? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm able to pull that off, I would do so. I think Myles Garrett is the best defensive player in the entire NFL. That was evident with the sack record that he broke last year on a bad football team, right? So we have to take that in consideration. This wasn't a good football team. This was a bad football team. And for me, Myles Garrett, his presence really changes your game plan, because your game plan is dedicated to making sure that he's maximized to some extent, right? You're going to double Myles Garrett. So to me, that will automatically make the whole entire team better, because of the fact that you got to double Myles Garrett and literally pay attention to anywhere he was or is on the field. In some ways that you had to do so with Micah Parsons. When Micah Parsons was on your team, you had to figure out where he was, because he dictated, how you was going to defend and whatnot, and it allowed the other guys to make plays as well. So to me, losing Micah Parsons was not ideal. If you can get that value back, and in some ways even better, you make that deal. That offense was the part of the team that was carrying the team last year. The defense sucked, and I thought Jerry Jones did a good job especially this offseason, trying to show up that defense and get it better to stop a run. Obviously, clearly, he wants to stop the running game. But adding Myles Garrett to me puts you over the top. And clearly they didn't get Max Crosby. They wanted to go all in with him. I believe they offered a first and a second. If you can offer 2 firsts for Myles Garrett, I understand that's a lot. But for Myles Garrett and that impact, to me, it would be, I won't say it won't be bang for your buck. That's not bang for your buck. That's a lot of expense. But to me, you could get return on that investment. So if I'm the Cowboys and I'm Jerry Jones, hey, you're the Cowboys, you're the home of the superstars, why not go for it?
Would you give up the 12th and the 20th pick this year?
That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, for Myles Garrett, probably be the only player I would do that for.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's that impactful. Like, you get Myles Garrett, I think a lot of people in the media would probably take the Cowboys to at least get to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
Which is something that they haven't done. And look at the historical context here. They haven't got to an NFC Championship game since the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a long time coming. Sometimes in order to break streaks like that, bad streaks, you got to make tough decisions and you got to be aggressive. And to me, although that's a hefty ass package that you would be giving up for Myles Garrett, to me, that would literally make you better than what you are today.
Yeah, and great points on everything you said. Look, in the last scenario that I asked you about, I would give up the 12th and the 20th if I got a second back in Myles Garrett. I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do it so quick, your head would swim, because he is that good. He is that unblockable. He is that person. He's the best defensive player. I don't care anybody, Crosby or any of these guys. No, he's the best defensive player that we've seen in generations. And we're talking Lawrence Taylor. We're talking Reggie White. We're talking that good. Yeah, we're talking that good. We're talking that good. And so I would give up the 12th and the 20th pick. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. I would want a second back because it set them up to continue to build on some of the things they need. They need a corner. They need a linebacker. But I would give up the 12th and the 20th, and I think Cleveland would do that. That would give Cleveland 4 first-round draft picks in the first round. And I think that's something that Cleveland probably couldn't say no to, Leo. I think they couldn't say no.
It's going to be hard. Yeah, from the Cleveland perspective, I mean, we looking at it from that perspective also. I mean, that'd be a hard pass a hard to pass because 4 first-round picks, I mean, you could really build your team out. Now, we don't know who the quarterback is going to be. We don't know if it's going to be Shador or if they just like, listen, we got to pay Deshaun Watson. We might as well throw him out there anyway.
Yeah.
Either way, you get to build that team around, and clearly they need to build that team. They're not a good football team. So to me, that would be a lucrative package on both sides.
Yeah, they could rebuild their offensive line with 2 of the stud offensive linemen in the top 12 pick. They can get 2 stud offensive linemen. They could come back and get a receiver, which they desperately need. And then they could go either way they wanted to go with the 4th pick. Just think about that. You would have 4 picks in the top 20, 22 picks. I mean, that's unheard of in the modern NFL. So again, Jerry Jones, if you're listening to me, I'm your boy. I'm telling you, make that deal. Send 12th, 20th, get us 2
He's
back.
too busy on his yacht, man.
Myles Garrett for the Cowboys, though, Leo. It instantly helps their defense, their secondary, because of the amount of pressure and how quickly he can put pressure on the quarterback. Look, part of the Dallas's problem in recent years is their players tend to get there. They never make any sacks, or they don't get enough pressure. That would change with Myles Garrett on the team. So Dallas, listen to me. Listen to your boy. I'd send the 12th and the 20th pick to Cleveland. Give me a second-round pick. Give me Myles Garrett. You're on your way to not only the NFC Championship, Leo, you're on your way to the Super Bowl. I'll give you the last.
When they got Kenny Clark, didn't they get Kenny Clark, or
they still have Kenny Clark?
They got Kenny Clark. They got Quentin Williams. So they literally could stop the run. Like, to me, that's a good team as far as trying to stop the run right there on paper. Now you get Myles Garrett, a home run hitter that can sack the quarterback, that can get to the quarterback. Now your defense is transformed fully. And now you have a defense that could complement that high octane offense of last year.
Absolutely. You have pressure up the middle with Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark, and then you have pressure on the outside, and then you can load up on that opposite side and do some exotic blitzes. Dallas would be a terror.
Yeah.
And you have to do both. To your point, we haven't been to the Super Bowl, hadn't won a Super Bowl since 1995. You have to do some bold things, and I don't care who you get in the draft at 12 and 20 as a package. It's not going to help your defense as much as it would if you got Myles Garrett in the trade. So Jerry, listen to your boy. I'm trying to help you out. Listen to me. Make that trade. I think the Cowboys will be on their way. Back to the NBA real quick, Lil. Again, you're on After the Buzz of Sports show with Lee Jones and my man, Real Lil. Lil, the NBA season is winding down. And, as I look over where the season is at and looking at both conferences, there's two teams in either conference that I'm just disappointed in. I expected more from them. One in the Eastern Conference is the Cleveland Cavaliers. I just thought Cleveland had the makeup to go all the way to the championship, and it just hadn't materialized. They're vastly underachieving. They trade for James Harden. That hasn't really helped, and they got an initial bump, but that hasn't helped. So Cleveland in the East, and then the Rockets, Leo, in the West. I mean, the Rockets can't win a close game down the stretch to save their lives. Their Warriors through the first three quarters and the fourth quarter, and at about the 5-minute mark, they seem to collapse every big game they play. So my question to you, Leo, which team is most disappointing to you? The Cavs in the East or the Rockets in the West?
I mean, look, I think it's a good topic because I did expect a little bit more from both of them. Like, they're not terrible. I mean, they're the 4th seed, both of them. So it's not like it's like, the season is over, but I did expect a little bit more from both of them, right? So I think it's a fair topic. Now, you start off with the Rockets. Obviously, when Fred VanVleet went down, I was like, all right, they're not winning the championship. That I can tell you off the rip, because they're going to miss having that point guard. Right. And it's funny because when you looked at them last year against the Warriors, I said in my head, if KD was on that exact team last year, they beat the Warriors because they just needed somebody that can just generate this shot consistently in the half court. He was the missing piece. But then he got there. Now they have another void. And to me, that, obviously is going to cap their ceiling. However, with that being said, another thing, I didn't like the fact that they lost to the Lakers back to back. To me, you got to win one of those games. There's no reason why that should happen.
Connects you down the stretch. At
home too. I think they were home for both of those games.
One was in LA, one was at home, but still fair
enough. But still, to go 0-2 in that stretch back to back, to me, I ain't like that. But look, Kevin Durant is still playing good basketball, great basketball. 25.7 points per game, 51.7% from the field, 40% from deep. I got to go with the Cavaliers here. You're talking about a team that won 64 games last year, so clearly they had double the amount last year. And while I am pleased with some of the player development, I think Jared Allen, once that trade for James Harden was made, he took a little bit of a leap since that Harden trade. But guys like Evan Mobley, who's to me is going to be the X factor for them even winning the championship, like he's a most important player. He has regressed when it came to free throw shooting. Like his free throw shooting has been terrible if you look at the numbers. Right now for this month, he's 49.1% from the free throw land. Now, you look at it the last couple of years, he was improving. Like you saw the numbers. It was 66.3 as his rookie year. And then it jumped up to 72.5% last season. So he was improving. Now it's back to 60% and obviously having a terrible month at 49%. So to me, the last thing you want is your big guy, one of the most important players on your team come playoff time. We all know the playoff questions that we have about the Cavaliers and Donovan Mitchell in particular. Can Donovan Mitchell get over that hump? The last thing you want is an important player like that in his head missing free throws, because we know he can improve. We know he can be better than what he's showing right now. You don't want him in his head because he's that important. Another thing too, when they traded DeAndre Hunter, yeah, sure, it bought offensive versatility when they got Dennis Schroeder and everything, but to me, it leaves you exposed against the East best wings and whatnot.
Yeah,
So to me,
yeah. Good
that's going
point.
to be something that you're going to have to look out for when you're going up against the Brunsons and the Tatums and the Browns and the Kay
Yeah,
Cunninghams. Like, there's a lot of good guys out here that can score the basketball, and you just gave away one of your best defenders, like per defenders, and DeAndre Hunter for more offensive versatility. I'm not sure if you actually got better with that move. So to me, when you look at the games they won last year as opposed to this year, and maybe they're better right now than they were before they made that Harden deal. When you think about what Harden brings to this team and has brought to this team already, still overall body of work and what I can see in the future happening, they will be the more disappointing team for me out these two teams.
yeah, yeah. Good points. Very good points. Look, Cleveland with the injury to Tatum, right? With Cade Cunningham now being injured, right? And the fact that you have a supposed superstar in Donovan Mitchell, they're just disappointing. Mitchell hadn't proved that he's that mega superstar. When you talk about all of the young guys, Ant, Shea, Luca, and you want to mention Donovan Mitchell name in there, but you can't, Leo. You just can't, because he doesn't do anything to make you want to put him in the conversation with all of the young stars. So you can't really put Donovan Mitchell in that conversation. James Harden is who we thought we were. Denny Green, he is who we thought he was, right? He is who he is, right? He's going to give you some big moments. He's going to be streaky, but you cannot rely on him in playoff time. You cannot. So that's not going to do anything for you, right? And like you said, I too agree with you. The Daniil Hunter thing, I would have kept Hunter. He's a two-way player, and it's like, maybe they thought some of the guys coming off the bench could fill his void, but Hunter was a very, very good basketball player, and I think they gave up on him way too soon. And they're going to need that defensive stoppability. You got Allen, you got Mobley. They're just a disappointment to me. But they were a disappointment last year, so they hadn't done anything to make me get excited about them, right? Get LeBron next year, it'll make me watch the Cavaliers more. To me, though, Leo, it's the Rockets. The Rockets have all of that young talent. They have KD. Now, they can score. I mean, they can score with anybody. But the thing about it is the Rockets, and I heard you about the Fred VanVleet injury, but the Rockets could have made a big push for Kyrie Irving, Leo, to get him from Dallas. They should. I was hoping that they did that. They needed point guard play. When Kyrie and KD were at Brooklyn together, it was the sweetest thing I ever saw, right? When they both were healthy, right? Remember when they traded Kyrie? The Nets had won 18 out of 19 games. They were second in the East. And they didn't want to pay Kyrie, and so he left. But think about it. I would have went after Kyrie Irving. They already had a lot of young talent. They had people.
But don't you think that would have affected the young talent? Because when Kyrie Irving is there and you got Kevin Durant there as well, that's going to change the development, to me, of those younger players, to me.
We're trying to win a championship, Leo. Get rid of some of them young players. Look, Houston's bench is deep. They got they got plenty of talent. Houston is 10 deep on their team. So giving up a first-round draft pick and 3 of those players, think about it. Dallas needed some additional talent. They could have packaged anybody. As long as you kept Şengün, you kept, I give up Smith or I give up him in a heartbeat. I'd give up a lot of those players, right? To get KD and Kyrie in their prime, keep Şengün inside, keep Reed Shepherd. Hey, they would have been winning games down the stretch. These games that they're leading in the fourth quarter and down the stretch, they cannot win because teams are blitzing KD and making him give up the ball and they're turning over the ball. This stuff wouldn't happen. And so for me, it's Houston. Houston is the most disappointing. Both of them have similar records, 43 and 27, along their fourth in their respective leagues. I don't think any one of them now is going to be able to do anything in the playoffs. I hope we'll look and see. And I hate it for KD because, to your point, KD has still got it. KD will be able to score till he's 40, 41, 42. He's just a professional scorer. But I blame it on the Houston organization. They had a chance to pry Kyrie Irving away from Dallas because Dallas is in complete rebuild, and I think that was a missed opportunity. So I would have to say it's the Houston Rockets, and I'll give you the last word on that, Leo.
I mean, look, when you look at it, I get your point about Kyrie Irving, and maybe your stance is more so like, yo, you could have made a deal. You knew you had this point guard situation from the very beginning of the season. It's not like it came up last second, and now you got to scramble to make a trade. You had pretty much all season to really come up with a game plan to fill that void of losing Van Fleet. 100%. I see that point. I think that point is valid. But at the same time, and I get the point about Kyrie Irving. In the fourth quarter, that's one guy that you trust. Him and Luka won a lot of games together because they were very good in the fourth quarter games. And I get that point. But for me, a guy like Kyrie Irving, he's more of a ball stopper. Now, don't get me wrong. He definitely has improved as far as passing. Like, I thought he didn't get enough credit on the Mavericks for getting other guys involved. But he's still a guy that takes a lot of dribbling. And, you know, obviously he's, you know, he gets the ball in his hands and he go to work. He do what Kyrie Irving does. But at the same time, to me, that would stunt the growth of the other guys. But then again, I agree that they should have made a move. And if it came down to Kyrie Irving or nothing, maybe you do go with Kyrie Irving and, you know, let him and KD go to work. And maybe that's the fabric of your team. So I get that point. But for me, it's just the Cavaliers. I just think the Cavaliers are a mid-basketball team. Even with the move for James Harden, because they actually made the move at the deadline. To me, I won't say it's a lateral move because James Harden fits better with Mitchell. He's going to make, obviously, he made the bigs better and whatnot. He has more playoff experience and whatnot. But still, to me, it's not a, you know, like a lateral trade. But to me, it doesn't move me. It doesn't move the needle to me. Yeah. Like, I still think the Cavaliers are a mid-team. And a lot of it has to do with your point about Donovan Mitchell not taking that leap into superstardom. To me, his ceiling is like, he's probably where Jamal Murray is. And Jamal Murray is a number 2. A guy that, you know, in the playoffs could do what he has to do and whatnot, but clearly he's not a number 1. That's Jokic. To me, Mitchell is probably a number 2, and we just don't want to admit that. I don't think he could be a championship number 1 player on a championship team. I just don't see Mitchell in that light. I never did. And honestly, I never will. At least this version of Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, no, that's the great points. I mean, I just don't see. You know, he's talented, but he fades in a lot of games. But you know what he has done, Leo? He's definitely overachieved in life. NBA player and Coco Jones.
Yeah.
You can do. You can do. You definitely can do worse than that. So, but yeah,
definitely.
He's not someone that when you think about the superstars in the league, he doesn't come. You go down a long list, pretty long list before you think about Donovan Mitchell, and that's an indictment on the Cleveland Cavaliers. I want to get our last topic in, Leo, before we get out of here. The WNBA signed a new collective bargaining agreement this week, and you know they got some concessions from the league, and actually it was a good deal. It was a good deal for them. I think some of the increases that they've gotten in the league. I wanted to ask you, Leo, and I'll give you some of the things the jumps that they did. They went from a salary cap of $1.5 million to a salary cap of $7 million. Great jump. Overall salary cap for each team, $7 million. The Supermax for a player, it was $250,000. Now the Supermax is $1.4 million for a player, right? Average salaries, $120K. Now the average salary is close to $600K. Will be going into this new CBA. And then minimum salary was $66K. And now the minimum salary coming into this new CBA is $300,000. So some great gains for the WNBA in their new negotiations with the players, the players in the league. But let me give you some of the negative facts before I get you to comment. Lost $40 million last year. $40 million as a league lost. Over the life of the WNBA, that league has lost $250 million in 26, 27 years. What are your thoughts about where the WNBA is going, Leo, the thoughts on the new CBA, and do you think this is momentum? One, and I'm happy that the ladies getting paid, but where do you think this jumps the WNBA now and how they can take this forward?
I mean, look, the narrative that, and look, I'm an honest guy. I'm just going to be honest. The narrative that people are trying to push is that the WNBA is going to mirror the NBA. It's never going to happen. I don't care who gets offended about that. I'm just telling you the truth, right? It's just never going to happen. Even a declining NBA, the WNBA would never be on the NBA level. Now, is it on the up and up? Yeah, I think more people watch the WNBA today than they did 5 years ago, where it was a myth. I think a lot of that had to do with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. To me, they're the most impactful WNBA people because of what happened in college and how that rivalry was a big rivalry and everybody started tuning in.
Absolutely.
And obviously,
Absolutely.
so that was a big that's like I'm not trying to be a hot take guy. And let me word my words correctly here. It's like kind of what Jordan did for the NBA, making it more global. You could argue maybe not on that high of a level, but what Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark did kind of really got the WNBA eyes. I'm going to just leave it like that, right? Before people come at me with pitchforks. Now, with that being said.
Magic and Birdish. And Birdish.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what rivalries do for you. And that's my point earlier about the SEC and everything. Rivalries, it really brings light to your sport and makes it profitable. And I wish the NBA really held on to its rivalries because that would actually help the sport even more. But I would say this, to keep it, the contract and the CBA and everything that was negotiated in is more player friendly. And that's a good thing for the players. Because to me, when I look at other CBAs, I don't think they flex enough muscle. Now, I'm not sure because you're probably more in tune with it than me on who's on the committee, but they did a hell of a job. They got a salary cap increase. They got a contract, a supermax increase. That all benefits the players. There are not a lot of CBAs that I see that benefits the players. Why the hell in the NFL do you still have a franchise tag that's not abolished? Even if you have to go into the season with strikes, I get it. It may hurt you a little bit in your pockets a little bit, but hey, look, the boycott of the daggone civil rights era. I mean, yeah, people took a hit just to get what they wanted. So to me, I think when I look at this whole entire thing, they did a very good job, the players here, of pretty much winning that whole entire thing. And to me, that's only going to benefit them and make them more profitable, because one thing that was said about the WNBA is that they don't make a lot compared to their NBA counterparts. Now they have a golden opportunity to make more. And now that the game is definitely more watchable as opposed to before, that bodes well for them. So I agree.
Good point. I think they got 20% of the revenue share, and that's great for them as well.
Thing I wanted to bring up, so they get more revenue.
Yeah. So I think, for the ladies, the salaries to continue to increase as the game continues to grow in popularity and more advertisers wanting to sign on and all of the media rights and getting more money, it's going to grow. I think the WNBA is in a great spot because they have a lot of talented young ladies in college basketball. And I think what Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Cooper and all those people did was taken, and you're right. When Angel and Caitlin Clark came in, that rivalry just boosted it up, and they're really taking that and really marketing on that. And I like the fact that they don't like each other, and it brings up a lot of angst with people. That's a great thing for the league. I think they have to keep growing. I think that I don't like, Leo, them having their playoffs during football season. I've been on record in saying that because
I agree.
Once the NFL season starts, you can forget it. I'm telling you, you can forget it. I watch the WNBA. I enjoy the games. I'm a big Angel Reese fan. I love the way she competes in her games. But once the NFL season starts, I might catch it and I might not. If it's on a weekday, I will watch it. If it's on the weekend, it's college football and NFL football. So I think that hurts them a little bit. I wish that they would finish their season a little bit before they can go into the preseason. But when the season kicks off in September, I need for their season to be over. If I was in the league office, I would do that. But I think this is great for the league. I think they need to keep going. But also, the last thing I'll say before we get out of here, I think the WNBA needs to divorce themselves from the NBA. They'll never know how really much money they can make and the revenue they can generate with them being in the NFL and I mean not the NFL but the NBA, and the NBA subsidizing their league. They need to get the NBA out of it. Now there's still some owners that are in the NBA. You got to keep that. But I would bring new ownership in that wasn't affiliated with the NBA and really be able to control your own books, because these numbers, $250 million, we don't know what that looks like because the books are not totally open, Leo, and because they're intertwined with the NBA. And when they even negotiate television rights, it's in addition with the NBA. So they really don't know what their viability is. I think that's something that's hurting the league. But more power to the ladies, because to your point, Leo, and I'll leave with this, they were willing to strike and not have a season. And
I mean,
the WNBA
do we
and the NBA
live
didn't
in
want
a
that
society
popularity.
today? Do we live in a society today where a woman has more cojones than men? I mean, how far have the Democrats pushed that narrative? I mean, come on now. And I think that should be done. And that's why I give them the credit for getting the most out of this CBA here. And the last thing I say is that, to your point about the NBA definitely has helped the WNBA. I mean, even from having that 3-point contest with Steph and everything, and just getting them more eyes, to me, definitely has helped the WNBA. And now it's on them to take it from here. And as skill becomes more developed, because we see a lot more skill today than we've ever had. And yeah, that was clear in the NBA. We got more skill. But in the WNBA, I mean, clearly we see more skill now. And a lot of people laughed at the skill that these people can't dunk. These women can't dunk. They can't do a lot of the stuff that, you know, obviously a man can do. But now we're seeing that they can. We're seeing the new version of Steph out there in the WNBA. So as long as that skill continues to develop along with the profit and the marketability, then hey, it can only go up from here. And now they got more money. To me, that's the up and up for the women's.
Yeah, plenty of women now are dunking in college and high school. It's all over the internet and everything. So that's going to bode well for them when they get in the league. The NBA has helped, but it's time for them to divorce themselves, because, Leo, as long as their books are intertwined with the NBA, like the Fever plays in the Pacers arena, they have to pay for that. No, get your own arena so that you can start to really control your books. So that's why I say they need to divorce themselves from the NBA. There might be some early significant more losses, but I think in the long run, you'll be a better league. But hey, that's the end of our show. This has been a great show, Leo. Tell the audience where they can catch you at, man, on all your social media platforms, all the work that you do. Tell the audience what's going on with the Real Leo Show and Can You Dig It Sports Network.
Yes, sir. The Real Leo Show on Spotify, YouTube. We out there. We drop episodes, and the Can You Dig Sports Radio Network as well. Tap in on the My Tuna Radio app, and we'll be back like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. We'll be back.
Yeah, this has been a great show. This is my guy, man. I love the energy that Leo brings, man. He always bring it, and he's real when he do it. It's real Leo. I love it. I got to get him better on that NBA. I don't know what he's seeing in that NBA, but I'm gonna keep working on him, y'all. I'm gonna keep working on him. But hey, this has been After the Buzzers Sports Show with Lee Jones, my special guest, Real Leo. We're gonna get out of here. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.